यस्मावतीतमस्तु मा विद् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। हरि ओम जी, हरि ओम जी। So, the definitions of adhyasa can be categorized, can be brought entire. All the definitions can be brought under three definitions. So, most of the people say, one definition is that you see a reality and you impose on it a quality that doesn't belong to it. So it is you are not imposing another noun, you are imposing another quality on the same noun. You are imposing snake quality on the rope. Anyatra, anyadharma adhyasa. The second definition, in this what happens is, those who define in this manner, they think that adjective is somewhere. That snakeness is somewhere. It is a real somewhere. It is there somewhere. It has a reality. The second definition is, you have the thought of the snake and thought of the rope. There is a confusion between the two thoughts. Somehow you manage to mistake the rope for snake. Yes. And they also believe that what is imposed has reality elsewhere. The third definition is Vedanti's definition. And that is, you don't impose an attribute on the noun. A given noun is mistaken for some other noun. Rope is mistaken to be snake. Something other than it. The entire noun is mistaken for another noun. And according to Vedantis, what is imposed? That mistake has no reality either there. There is no snake either there or elsewhere. That particular snake is not there or elsewhere. We are not talking about other snake. That's not talking about. The snake that I see there is neither there nor elsewhere. It is a very, very beautiful thing. It's not there. All that is there is only rope. Shunyavadis also accept the third definition. The Shunyavadis also say what is imposed is neither there or elsewhere. But the only difference between Vedanta and Shunyavadi is that the Shunyavadi says just as the snake is not there, rope also is not there. Ultimately nothing is there. What is imposed is nowhere there, and where you impose also is nowhere there. Whereas a Vedanti says what is imposed is nowhere there. It's nowhere. And where it is imposed is there. Bhranti can't exist without presupposing truth, is the hub of Vedic culture. otherwise it will fall apart. You can't have an illusion without reality. And unless the one who sees the illusion is real, the illusion cannot be illusion. An illusion is an illusion only in contrast to what is not an illusion. Otherwise, how do you judge an illusion? How do you judge an illusion? ये तो बहुत ही जरूरी है. The other things are all जोश, सब कुछ नहीं is just a wishful thinking. कुछ नहीं जी ऐसा नहीं. ये कुछ नहीं है, जब कुछ होता है तभी कुछ नहीं है. Life is nothing, सब कुछ नहीं, it is all an illusion. I say there has to be a truth. Thus there is a difference. So the first two definitions come under one category, and the last definition comes under its own class. Most of the schools of thought, all exhaustively, all schools of thought come under the first two definitions, and Vedanta and Shunyavadi comes under the third definition, and within Vedanta and Shunyavada also there is a difference. This is what we have seen. Trishu prakareshu sarvesham darshanikānām भ्रांति ख्याति वादाहां तर्भवन्ति. Bhranti khyati vadaha. All the definitions of Bhranti, come under these three categories. Tatra Shunyavadi Vedanti cha Tritiya Paksham Alambete. This is what we have to do. Yes, somewhere here only. The Shunyavadi and Vedanti come under Tritiya Paksham Alambete. They take to the third definition. Tad itaretu and the rest. Prathama Dvitiya Pakshayoho. Between the first and the second definition, Anyataram, either of the two, iti vivekaha, they resort to either of the first two definitions. All the rest of them resort to either of the first two definitions, whereas the Vedanti and Shunyavadi resort to the final definition. But the difference is, those who believe in those who go by the first two definitions think that what is imposed is a reality elsewhere. Kahin na kahin hai. Whereas Vedanta and Shunyavadi say what is imposed is no. What you see there is nowhere there. Is nowhere. So this embodiment is seen in the truth, but it is not a reality in the truth, nor it is elsewhere. This thought, I am the body, is neither in the truth nor elsewhere. This samsara I feel is neither in the truth nor elsewhere. The samsara I see in myself is neither in me nor elsewhere. The pain I see in myself is neither in me as an attribute of me nor elsewhere. That is the reality, and the individual may have to spend yugas only for that, for understanding. The entire evolution is only towards that point, if at all there is any mental evolution. All the graded intelligence is only for that goal. Intelligence has no purpose other than understanding the truth. Okay, taditare tu prathamadvitiya pakshayoho anyataramati vivekaha tayoho pakshayoho samaropitam. I'll tell you. Just as you can't answer the question, why are you seeking happiness? कोई भी हो पूरा जिंदगी अपना, everybody seeks happiness. Whether he likes it, because that conforms to the truth. And everybody will be only thinking to know what. He would be wondering as to what life is, what death is. In every life he will be wondering, maturing. Whether he likes it or not, because that exactly that conforms to the truth. Ultimately, maybe he will come back to himself. His entire life, even though the error doesn't conform to the truth, but in and through the error the truth is there. Therefore the entire life is in conformity with the truth. The very search for happiness is in conformity with the truth. All dharma is in conformity with the truth. Common sense is in conformity with the truth. The entire growth is in conformity with the truth. एक दिन तो आना है, whether he likes it or not. Choice is a myth, because you can't choose not to seek happiness. Then where is the choice? You can't choose not to have peace. You can't choose not to have freedom. You can't choose not to grow mentally. You may not grow mentally, but you can't choose not to grow mentally. You can't choose not to be intelligent. The so-called choice is related to small actions. The great choice is खाने पीने वाला. It all relates to खाने पीने वाला चीज़. आज क्या खाऊं, ब्रेड खाऊं, रोटी खाऊं, दोनों एक ही है. But still, but great choice. But animals also make a choice. If you give a green grass and the hay, they go for green grass, and someone they get tired of green grass, they go to hay. In fact, the entire living process conforms to the presence of the truth in every living being. It is just, it conforms to the truth. Even impulses ultimately conform, because the impulses give you pain, that conforms to the truth. Whenever I don't conform to the truth, I get pain, and that is conforming to the truth. Yes, understand. Whenever I hate somebody, I become unhappy, or whatever mistake, any impulse makes me unhappy. That is in conformity with the truth. You may say it is in conformity with the law of karma. I say the law of karma itself is in conformity with the truth. Everything one in line with the truth. Without that truth, you can't explain anything. Truth explains away everything. The presence of truth in every living being explains away the life behavior. Tayoho pakshayoho samaropitam vastu sarvatha nastiti nanumanyate. The people who follow the first two definitions do not somehow infer that it is not there anywhere. They always think what is imposed is somewhere. Anyway, they follow only inference. But somehow or other they fail to infer. They fail to infer that the snake that they see or the silver that they see in the shell is nowhere. They fail to understand it. They fail to infer it. But they come to know, they come to conclude it's somewhere there. So ultimately it's a very serious conclusion. You can't really impose something on something unless what is imposed is somewhere. It's a very dangerous thing. Anyatha grahana prakare param vivadaha iti rashidvaya karanam. In anyatha grahana means in the error. How does the error take place in this matter? There are so many opinions, but they all accept it is a mistake. How it happens, it doesn't matter. Therefore, these countless opinions about Anyatha Grahanam are all brought under two heads, first two. Why all of them do believe that what is imposed is somewhere. Shunyavada Brahmavada Yoho. Shunyavada and Brahmavada, the Shunyavadis and the Vedantis, Ubhayorapi in the case of both the schools, Charama Pakshe, and both of them come under the last Paksha. Charama Paksha means the last Paksha, the final definition. Charama Pakshe Samaveshepi, even though they come under the third, both of them come under the third Paksha, Asti Vishesha, उसके बीच में कुछ विशेष है. Even the Shunyavadis and Vedantis both resort to the final definition, but there is a difference. They have something common. What is imposed is nowhere. What is imposed is nowhere. That is common to both. I mean, nowhere a reality. It's not a reality anyway. What is imposed is nowhere. But what is, if this is something common to both, then what is the difference between the two? Tatra Shunyavadino Vadanti. There the Shunyavadis say, Adhyaropitam yathacha Sat tatha na sat. Adhyaropitam yatha na sat. Tatha yatra tadadhyaropyate tadapi na sat. The Shunyavadis say just as what is imposed is not true, where it is imposed also is not true. Yadadhyaropyate tat na sat. Yatra adhyaropyate tadapi na sat. जो अध्यारोपित किया जाता है वो भी सत्य नहीं है, जहां वो अध्यारोपित किया जाता है वो भी सत्य नहीं, दोनों झूठ. कल्पितत्व विशेषादिति. And what is the logic they give? Kalpitatva visheshat. What is imposed and where it is imposed have a common quality of both being kalpita. Sarpa is kalpitam, Rajju is also kalpitam. Why and Rajju is kalpitam, the whole prapancha is kalpitam. And if you say Brahman is Satyam, no. Where Jagat is kalpitam, you say Brahman, that Brahman also is kalpitam. वो भी kalpita hai. Because you think of it, it is kalpita. Anything that is available for thinking is kalpita. Your truth, what you call Brahman is also kalpita. Kalpitatva vishesha, kalpitatva vishesha, they are equally kalpita. Iti, and therefore in this manner the Shunyavadis say. Alright, what do the Vedantis say? Vedanti nastu bruvate. Vedanti log कहते हैं यद्यपि अध्यारोपितम सर्वम कल्पितमेवा. Even though all that is imposed is kalpitam, adhyaropitam kalpitameva, yadyapi adhyaropitam sarvam kalpitameva, tathapi sarva kalpana kshaye. A kalpana by definition is that which is available for negation. That's a very important thing. A kalpana is something. If you say a kalpana is kalpana because it is kalpitam, then another thing is any kalpana is available for negation. That is why sarva kalpana kshaye, when all the kalpanas are negated, sarva kalpana kshaye. Avikalpitasya, and what is kalpitam? The reality. Avikalpitasya. Avikalpitatvadeva, because it is not kalpita. On the very strength that it is not kalpita, Paramartha Sattvam Setsyati, it becomes the absolute truth. Let there be a series of kalpanas, but ultimately the root of all kalpanas must be the Satyam. And that is not a thought. And that nor is it an object of thought. Kalpana is in the form of thinking. But where it is, even, see, it's just a drishtana. Sarpa is kalpitam in the Rajju. Rajju also is kalpitam. Rajju is also kalpitam. Just listen. Because Jagat is kalpitam. But Brahman is not kalpitam. Supposing you say, every kalpitam has a adhishthanam which is also kalpitam, then it will lead to anavastha. Kalpitam has aspada, which is again kalpitam. And for it to become kalpitam, there should be aspada, which again should be kalpitam. And that should have aspada. That will lead to anavastha. It's a dosha. That means, if you precipitate a dosha, that means you have gone wrong somewhere. Very important thing. Therefore, where all the kalpanas come to an end, there has to be the aspada. The aspada of all the kalpanas has to be Satyam. Follow at least this logic. You don't have to be a Brahmajnani. Just have some few sane thoughts in your mind of Vedanta and sustain. Sane thoughts. Like law of causation, same thought. Dharma is a same thought. Fairness. I don't want others to hurt me, why should I? I don't want others to backbite about me. Okay? I should also. I do not talk against anybody. To anybody. If the temptation to talk is too much, you can use a phrase, let them hang themselves. Why backbite? Leave it. Get your venom out by a venomous phrase. Yes. Silently say some strong words, get them lost. Let them hang themselves. Let me not talk. हार मिलता है. ठीक है? It's not right. हार मिलता है. Why talk about that? That keeps you sane. A sane thought keeps you sane. A sane fundamental thought. Similarly, people always believe in everything disappears and there is nothing. No. When everything disappears, there exists something. It's the same thought. It's a fundamental sane thought. Refutation of Shunyavadi is the sanest thought. Refutation of a Shunyavadi is the sanest thought. And refutation of the Shunyavadi means the refutation of the universal view. Pura duniya ka jo galat vichar, death is the end. ऐसा कुछ नहीं. Yeah, if everything resolves, then there has to be something that doesn't disappear. Veda, thus a few sane thoughts. Third sane thought give you. Even the person whom I don't like, let me be fair. Very sane. I don't like my husband, but let me be fair to him. I don't like my wife, let me be fair to him. I don't like my friend, let me be fair to him. I don't like my servants, but let me be fair to them. Same thought. I will give another same thought. Let me not be intimidated by kaya klesha. Let not physical discomfort intimidate me. Let me do what is right. Let me do what is right. What is good for me, what is good for me and what is good for me. Those should depend on. A handful of sane thoughts I am telling you cover the whole sanity. Yes. Sanity is not a substance. Sane thinking is sanity. What else is sanity? Is it a substance? Sane thinking is sanity. Therefore, refuting Shunyavadi is sanity, please. Don't think, Swamiji, are we not being cruel? Refuting somebody? Yeah, they're refuting. What is their cruelty about? It is sanity. I am saying it is sanity, not cruelty. Yes. Vedantinastu bruvate yajjabhyadhyaropitam sarvam kalpitameva tathapi sarva kalpanakshaye avikalpitasya avikalpitattvadeva paramatra sattvam setchati nacha tasyapi kalpitatvam, and that cannot be kalpitam. Where all the kalpitam ends and where it ends, that is not kalpitam. Man dies, his whole mind resolves. Where it goes, where it disappears, that is not kalpitam. That doesn't die. Where everything dies, that doesn't die. Where everything gets refuted, that doesn't get refuted. Yes, the sanest thought. It is a thought which is indeed, it includes the major part of Indian spirituality. It includes the whole. Where is Vedic culture minus this thought, ji? Where is Vedic culture? The other religions don't talk about all that. They talk about your life elsewhere, comfortable life in the creation. They don't talk about what survives when the whole creation resolves again. They talk about life. Say from here, Jannat jayenge, Swarga jayenge, we'll go to heaven. What are all there is no analysis of what disappears and what doesn't. There is no analysis of what is false and what is real. There is no analysis what is law and what is the truth. Ye sab nahi. Therefore, you can be most comfortable sitting under a tree with these fundamental Vedic sane thoughts. Please don't look upon them as thoughts. It is sane thinking about the topic. It is sane thinking about the topic. There is only a topic. Now, asati samyajnane mithyagnanasyeva asambhavat. What a sentence. If there is no right knowledge, there would be no wrong. Every wrong knowledge is available for refutation, correction, and that is called right knowledge. And the topic of that right knowledge is not kalpitam. The topic of that right knowledge is not kalpitam. Samyak jnanam is samyak jnanam because it refutes mithya jnanam. And therefore that samyak jnanam is not again mithya jnanam. The topic of it is the truth. Asambhavat yatra kvachit akalpitattvasya avashya angikaraniyatvat nacha loke drishta niravadhiko badaha iti. Wherever the error is there, the fact has to be accepted. There has to be a reality even before the error begins. Without presupposing the reality, there would be no error. Without presupposing Parameshwara, there would be no creation. God is not an evolute of creation, nor truth is an evolute of creation, nor maturity is an evolute of creation. As I told you, the whole growth is in conformity with the truth that is already there. Therefore, we can't say Jiva evolves in the Srishti and becomes Ishvara. Like these people said, let me take the name, heavens don't come down. One is Nietzsche, the other is Ghosh, Aurobindo Ghosh. Jiva slowly Superman he becomes. Superman theory? That's the issue. Man evolves and becomes Ishvara. Here the Vedanta says, sir, a fact is not an evolute from the error. The source is not an evolute from the creation. Because even before the creation begins, Ishvara is the sanest to thought, the sanest to thinking. You can't say Bhagavan evolves. The definitions of the Bhagavan evolve in the minds of the minds and it takes shape. Even neither the definition of God evolves. To begin with, these people say God is in heaven, then the human beings mature, and then slowly the definition gets the fabric in the minds of the people into proper shape. And ultimately, the right definition comes. Neither God is an evolute, nor the language that talks about is an evolute. Truth is Nithyam, and the language that unfolds it is Anadi. It's not an evolute. It's all with ego. Seriously entertain that thought. This whole creation presupposes the soul. Live in that thought, you are all right. Yeah. That thought is the most consoling thought. Even death presupposes the man's mind. Its appearance presupposes the truth. Its disappearance also presupposes the truth. That truth is the essence of all living. Even if you believe it, believe the glorious. Don't believe the shoddy. That is upasana. All upasanas are nothing but they do not believe, but believe the right. Even if you believe the right. Don't believe the shoddy, which is straight away illogical. And the next thought says, Nacha loke drishtam niravadhiko badha iti. Nacha loke drishtaha. It is not seen in the world. Niravadhikaha badhaha. Endless negation is not seen. Negation is always up to a point. Up to the reality, everything gets negated. But the reality doesn't. Reality is the avadhi. Avadhi means thus far, no further. Negation is not endless. Nacha niravadhikaha badhaha drishtaha loke. When you refute the snake, you refute it, there is something refute until you see the rope. That is avadhi. Rope is the avadhi. Similarly, you may negate the whole creation up to the avadhi of Brahman, your existence. And you can't negate that negator. Or in whose light everything is negated, that light cannot be negated. Therefore, it's a very beautiful thought. Negation is not endless. Negation has a limit, and that limit is the truth. Negation has a limit. Uska seema hai. Death has a limit. Not everything dies. Everything dies. Not everything dies. Thing dies. Thing dies. Everything dies. Thing quote unquote dies. Everything dies. Where everything dies, that doesn't die. Tadevam matabhede sthite. Tadevam matabhede sthite. Though there is a matabheda in this world regarding the definition of an error, the method of that error, how it takes place, and there is matabheda between Shunyavadis and Vedantis. There is a matabheda as to, one says the negation is not endless, Shunyavadi says it is endless. Anything that you think of, gone, is kalpita. But if the truth is there which cannot be thought, which is, he says, the moment you say it is truth, it is gone. It's kalpita. But anyway, we can think of something which is beyond, which is not an object of word. ऐसा कुछ नहीं, सब शून्य, emptiness. Truth is neither existent as an object of thought, nor is it existent as the source of thought. Neither it exists as an object of thought, nor does it exist as the being. कुछ नहीं. It is not there either as vritti or as the sat. Bas. Sat nahi. To be is not there. The fundamental truth is not to be. Not to be the essence of everything. Not to be. Not to be. तदेवं मतभेदे स्थिते समारोपितस्य मिथ्यात्वे तु नास्ति विप्रतिपत्तिः इत्येतयोः उभयोः तृतीयपक्षे एव प्रवेशः अनुमतः. Very beautifully, even though they have certain differences between Vedantis and Shunyavadis, one something is, but both accept that what is aropitam is aropitam and it is obeyed. Whereas the other schools, they say what is aropitam is also real. Where it is imposed, it is also real. What is imposed also is, where it is imposed, it is real right there. What is imposed is real elsewhere. उनके दो सत्य है, वेदांति के लिए एक सत्य है और शून्यवादी के लिए कुछ सत्य है। ठीक है ना? बड़ा भाई, छोटा भाई, छोटा भाई। Who doesn't understand these bluffs? See, scholars when they make bluffs, how do they make it? Scholarly bluffs. Yes. When the prophets make bluffs, what are they? Prophetic bluffs. Yes. When the illiterate make bluffs, what are they? Illiterate bluffs. When the educated people make bluffs, they are educated, elitist bluffs, prophetic bluffs, scholarly bluffs. You should just be a wise man to see through the bluffs. That is sanity. You can be very happy. You can just live. You don't miss in all this. You are not enamored by what is around. Doroti Bhagavan is that. I don't think you will have any complaint about on the basis of material things. And when you see through all the bluffs, you are touching the truth anyway. Yes. Thus, ubhayepi hi yatra yadadhyasah tasyaiva viparita dharmatva kalpanam adhyasam achakshate. Another thing common is this, very nice. The very reality is mistaken for something. According to Vedanti, what is of one nature is mistaken to be of another nature. Not another quality or anything, another nature, totally. The unlimited is mistaken for the limited. That's it. I am a limited noun, you see. The unlimited noun is mistaken for unlimited noun. The adhyasa is not like that. I am an unlimited noun with a limitation. I am the unlimited with the adjective of a limitation. ऐसा कोई बोलते नहीं है. I am a limited noun, limited conscious. The noun is mistaken for, a fact is mistaken for something else. Vedanta says existent rope is mistaken for snake, or the existent self is mistaken for the jiva. Sunyavadi says what is not is seen as is. जो है नहीं है, it is mistaken for is. जो है नहीं, जो असत है, the shunyam is mistaken for something. Rajju is mistaken for sarpa, Vedanti says. Shunyavadi says asat is mistaken for sat. Amazing. It's very interesting to probe into it. How their minds worked. जो है नहीं है, the snake that is not there is seen there. What about the rope? The rope that is not seen is seen. What about the universe? जो है नहीं है is seen. But there has to be something. No, if that something is there, that is also is not there but seen to be there. Throughout, what is not seen, what is not seen, what is not seen, what is not seen. What is not there is seen to be there. Asat is the truth seen as Sat. They don't say the formless is seen as having a form. That is all modern interpretation. These Shunyavadis, they don't want to accept. Some of the Buddhists, educated Buddhists feel embarrassed to be told that you are Shunyavadis. So they don't want to that. So they say, no, that is not what Buddha means. What Buddha meant was, Shunya means the free from all the forms, the truth. That means it becomes Brahman. Shunya of form, sound, taste, touch, smell, that means it becomes Brahma. You mean to say in that crucial point there was a gap in communication? Hey, gap in communication problem is a different problem. Here there was no gap in communication. It was all meaningless. Do you mean to say that Shankaracharya was not able to understand what they were talking? Vedantis, there was a communication. Communication gap is only between wife and husband. Not between two scholars. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Don't blame communication gap. There was no communication gap. ये तो पक्का है. They do not accept Brahmavada. But these educated people think little different. Educated Buddhists, intellectuals. So they say, how can there be? Some truth must be there. That appeals to the intellectuals. That they can understand. You see, how can Shunya? In fact, you can't prove Shunya. Nothingness you can't prove, you can't think. Thus, next, the last three lines, let us finish it. Yatra shukyadau yadadhyasaha yasya rajatadehe adhyasaha tasyaiva adharabhuta shukyadehe viparita dharmatva kalpanam swatmanaha viparitaha yo dharmaha rajatadi svabhavaha tattvatvena kalpanam nityabhutasya grihitim adhyasamachakshate ityartha. In both the cases, what is common is, just listen to it, that whole thing I'll explain it just in one sentence. In the case of the first two definitions, they say, you bring that quality, the sarpatum you bring from somewhere and impose. So it means it has a reality elsewhere. But in these two cases, whereas the Vedantis and Shunyavadis, you distort that very thing. Meaning somehow or other, you distort it. It doesn't have to be anywhere. According to these two schools, in order to make a mistake, in order to mistake the nirvisesham, you don't have to know the savisesham. समझना पड़ेंगे आपको. In order to mistake a given thing, in order to mistake the rope for snake, you have to know the snake pale, smriti rupa, purvodrishtata. In order to mistake the rope for snake, I must have the idea of snake at least. In order to mistake the shell for a silver, I must have the idea of silver. Kuch to chahiye. But if I have to make a mistake about the nirvisesha Brahma, I can mistake the Brahman for anything. Savisesha. Not a given savisesha, no, any savisesha. And when I make a mistake about the nirvisesham, one without a second, if there has to be a mistake about one without a second, it is not that I should already be knowing the second. I say, second to hai nahi. If I have to mistake the nirvisesham, I don't mistake Brahman as a given savisesham, but any savisesham. And that applies to Shunyavadis, because for them Shunya is also nirvisesham. Shunya also is nirvisesham, you can mistake. Therefore, in both the cases, try to think, अपने आप आराम से बैठ के सोच लेना. In the first case, in the case of the first two definitions, it is natural for them to think that what you impose is real elsewhere. But these people say, because there is nothing else outside. There is nothing outside Brahma for you to impose on it. So you don't bring the universe from outside Brahma and impose on it. Nor do you bring the universe and impose on outside Shunyam and impose on Shunyam. So the universe that is imposed on Shunyam is not outside Shunyam according to Shunyavadis. According to Vedantis, the universe that is imposed on Brahma is not outside Brahmas. It is distortionable to say. This is something common. So it's nice to study what is common to both Vedantis and Shunyavadis and what is not common. What is common doesn't make you wise, but what is not common makes you wise. Yes. For them, Kalpitatvam is endless. For us, Kalpita continues only up to reality. Dream has the boundaries of truth. Is where the truth is, where the truth begins, there the illusion ends. Matter of speaking, truth doesn't begin. The illusion that I am Jiva, its boundary is Brahmatvam. Brahmatvam is the boundary. In this manner, we have completed the various ways of thinking about error. It is not that really, even if you see it 10 times, 15 times, still there are beauties. It only adds to your clarity. It is not that. It is not going to... Vedanta is one thing which doesn't add to your information. It adds to your clarity about the truth. Word-free clarity. A word-free clarity. It doesn't give you a lot of information. Why? Because the topic is not information. This whole world is objects. They are all abhidheyas. They are all abhidheyas. Objects of words, objects of language. So the more you analyze them, the more you accumulate language. Right? The more you think of the abhidheyas, the more you accumulate the abhidhanas. Whereas truth is not abhidheyam. So you don't collect language. You only grow in clarity of what you are. Okay, ji. Then begins idam adhyasa lakshanam sarvatantra viruddham. The definition given by Bhashyakara, the definition of error as accepted by the Vedantis is sarvatantra aviruddham. It cannot be opposed by any school of thought. They may have different opinions about the methodology of it, but just to define what is an error? Mistaking a reality for what it is not. Mistaking what is for what it is not. Shunyavadi says, mistaking what is not for what is. That is not the definition of Vedantis. Mistaking what is for what it is not. This is something that cannot be opposed by any school of thought. Ultimately, even the Shunyavadi says, I am mistaking the Shunya that is for what it is not. Yes. तो कहना पड़ेगा अंत में. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरिओम जी, हरिओम जी, हरिओम जी। हे भगवान।